This is William Pratt, Chair of the West Hartford Board of Assessors, and I'd like to welcome you to the virtual March 11th, 2021 meeting of the board. Because in-person attendance is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this hearing is being conducted virtually in accordance with Governor Lamont's public health emergency and civil preparedness orders. Board members and some town staff are participating. The public can watch this meeting on Comcast Channel 5, Frontier TV Channel 6098, or on www.whtv.org. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before I begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you. If you are participating via audio only, or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Third, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that votes be taken by roll. I will now call the roll. James Healy.
Here.
Okay. Please say your name when you respond.
I'm sorry, this is James Healy. I'm here.
Matthew LeBlanc. Not here. Shelley Roseanne.
Shelley Roseanne, present.
Teresa Szymanski.
Teresa Szymanski, present.
And William Prensky is here. Also representing the assessment department, Joseph Dakers.
Joseph Dakers is here.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to proceed to the agenda. All votes must be taken by roll and not by voice. I noticed that on the agenda, we didn't have the approval of the minutes from November 12th. So I think I can entertain a motion to amend the agenda to accept the minutes. Do I hear a motion? Raise your hand. Teresa?
Thank you. Yeah, this is Teresa Szymanski, and I move to amend today's agenda by adding an item for approval of the minutes from the November meeting.
There's a second. Shelley?
Shelley Roseanne, seconds.
Okay. All in favor? Any discussion? No, hearing none. All in favor? We're going to start with our roll call. James Healy.
James Healy, aye.
Shelley Roseanne.
Shelley Roseanne, aye.
It's Roseanne, right?
Correct.
Sorry.
No, not like that.
Teresa Szymanski.
Teresa Szymanski votes in favor.
And William Prensky votes in favor. So the minutes are on the agenda. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll go. This,
Teresa.
yeah, this is Teresa Szymanski. I move to accept the minutes from the November meeting.
And is there a second?
Shelley Roseanne,
Shelley?
second. Shelley Roseanne, second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. To my list again. James?
James Healy in favor.
I call you Jim, but Shelley?
Aye. Shelley Roseanne, yes.
And Teresa.
Teresa Samansky votes in favor.
And I, William Prensky, vote in favor. Okay, so the minutes are adopted. The first agenda item is the request for personal property tax exempt status for the Edward C. and Ann T. Roberts Foundation. Joe, do you have anything you want to start with?
Yes. This is, they've submitted their M3 quadrennial application. And they are seeking shelter under Connecticut General Statute 12-81, subsection 7, which is a charitable organization. It appears that they provide grants to area arts organizations. They have submitted their personal property declaration. They have essentially, they really only have about 3 laptops that they're seeking an exemption on, and the estimated assessment is about $550. They have provided us with their Department of Treasury certification, 501c3. They also went further by providing us with their state of Connecticut sales tax exemption certification. They have included their certificate of incorporation and their bylaws. And apparently they give about 5% of their investment income, annual investment income, to charitable organizations that meet the mission of their organization. And that is material that you have before you.
Well, I have William Prensky, I have a question. There's a November 2nd, 2020 letter to the Board of Assessors. And it says from the foundation, and it's saying that they're apologizing for the delinquent submission. Are they on time? Are they timely?
No, they're not. And I was going to get to that. If you decide to approve their request, that should be for the October 1st, 2021 grand list, not October 1st, 2020. In order for them to be eligible for the exemption on the 2020 grand list, they would have had to file a late filing fee of $35 payable to the municipality. But their actual tax bill based upon their assessment will be about $22. So I think it would almost be punitive to have them to pay that late filing fee. So the property tax that they will pay for the 20 grand list is actually less than the late filing fee. If that makes any sense.
William Prensky, for 2020?
Yes, for 2020, they're not eligible for the exemption because they did not request for an extension to file. But I think when I look at the details of this file, the penalty for filing late would be $35. The actual taxes on the 2020 grand list will be about $22. So it's my recommendation that if the exemption is granted, that it would be for the October 1st, 2021 grand list, given that the application is late. Is that, I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, makes sense to me. I guess my question is, do you have the authority to accept the late filing?
Yes, I believe it's on the 12-81, 12-87, which is the extension to file statute. And, yeah, 12-87A. And I'll just kind of paraphrase this. Shall pay a $35 for late filing to the municipality. So if they're filing for an exemption under any one of these subheadings, 7, 10, 11, or 16, and they're filing under 7, they would be eligible to file under 1287A.
Perhaps
But-
Shelley. Shelley, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. Shelley Roseanne, can we just decide this matter for 2021? Because if we're then going to go retroactive for this party, why wouldn't we go retroactive for any and everybody else? You know, why would we make that decision in this case and not any other?
Well, Joe Dacre speaking. Well, what we can do is we can table the matter. We don't have to decide on it at all. And this is not retroactive. This would be a prospective decision because this would be for the October 1st, 2021 grants, which would be as of this October. So let's assume that they filed that application in advance.
Shelley?
Shelley Roseanne, yeah, that was my question. Thank you. I did not want to look back. I thought we could look forward.
Yeah, I don't have, I'm sorry, Bill, you were gonna.
Yes, you're next.
Hello, this is Terry Samansky speaking. I don't have the documents. I read everything, but I don't have them in front of me. So I don't remember if they specifically filed, but they specifically filed for 2020. So it's just a little odd to me that we would approve for 2021
Well,
instead of just. I mean, the issue before us, I think, is to whether to grant their request for exemption for 2020, right?
yes.
So I feel like we have to say yes or no to that. And that's the extent of our mission here. I feel like I agree with Shelley. I don't like, it seems pretty random and arbitrary to say, oh, hey, you know, it's like $35, $22. It's only $500 worth of laptops. So let's just ignore the fact that they filed late and approve it. Seems like not the right path to go down because how do you get off that slippery slope once you're on it? But I also feel like granting an exemption that they didn't ask for is not what we should do either. So I guess I'm suggesting we just reject it and then maybe, Joe, you can work your magic and say, hey, you owe us $22, but change the date on this and we'll do you for 2021.
Well, Joe Dacre speaking. We certainly can do that. Technically, they don't have an application for the October 1st, 2020 grant list, the one that we're working on now.
Right.
So we can, you can certainly act on that fact. Had they filed for an extension and made the $35 late payment fee, then we would have to consider their application for the 2020 grant list. That's not the case.
Right.
You're mute, James.
Haley?
Yes, this is James Healy. I wonder if, in all fairness to the applicant, though, if there's a way if it wouldn't be fair to advise them of that, if we do go this route and say no to the application, if it isn't fair to advise them that that's the basis and that they have a right to resubmit as you just mentioned, Joe. I wonder if, just in fairness to them, that might be the way to go.
Joe Dacre speaking. I concur. I certainly wouldn't leave this I will reach out to Lisa Curran, who I believe is their executive director, and give her the mechanics and the reasoning about the decision process, and I'll let her know about the penalty and the ensuing assessment and taxes. I can't see where they would have any opposition to that, and certainly we can put this application that we already have on hold for the October 1st, 2021 grant list and resubmit it because it would be a timely filing for 10/1/2021.
Right.
Do I hear a motion? Well, we should have the motion in favor of, you'd have to phrase it, in favor of exempting the personal property tax, or a motion approving there is no application, is that correct?
Well, there is. It's just late.
So are we tabling it or are we acting on it? I'm just confused.
I think we're acting on it. We're having Mr. Dakers advise them of the procedure
Okay.
and that they can go forward next year. Is that correct, for 2020?
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so I'm asking for a motion.
So I have a question to you, Bill, and to you, Joe. So I guess our history with doing this kind of thing is like a motion is just a motion. The agenda item is the Roberts Foundation has asked for an exemption for certain personal property, and that should be the motion. Within the motion, we don't go into detail, correct?
Correct.
I mean, we don't even say, subject to Joe going back to, we just,
No, you're
okay,
right.
so I can, so I will, this is Terry Samansky. I will move to, the motion is to approve the request for tax exemption for the Roberts Foundation for some personal property.
Second? Shelley? Yes? Shelley, I think you have to speak, though, for this.
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay. I thought maybe I was muted.
Well, I didn't hear you at first, but okay. Roll call.
So James Healy, nay.
Shelley
Roseanne, nay.
Teresa Samansky
Teresa Samansky, no.
and William Prensky, no. The motion is defeated. Okay, the second item on the agenda is the Aurora Foundation and their request for tax exempt status for personal property. Joe, do you have anything to
Yes.
add, or?
Joseph Dakers speaking. This is again a charitable organization seeking shelter under 12-81 subsection 7. They provide grant making for women and girls. They produce research on issues facing women and girls and educate community on issues facing women and girls. They're located at the University of St. Joseph's. Apparently they have some space there. I'm not sure if it's gifted or not. I can't see where they're paying any rent. But they don't have any furniture and fixtures other than a few laptops again. And based upon the personal property declaration that they submitted, they would have an assessment of $1,330. They have also remitted their bylaws and their certification from the Department of Treasury, along with their certificate of incorporation.
Just a,
I recognize Terry, and Terry, when you're finished, please turn your mic off.
okay. Joe, just a quick question, and it's kind of a nit, I think. I guess I might have missed it, but I didn't see that they specified their subsection of 1281 on their application. Did I just miss it somewhere? They were supposed to list it, and then at the end of that application, there's a list of, and they didn't list anything or check anything off, so I'm just curious.
No, you didn't miss it. No, actually, they didn't list it, so that's my my shortcoming on that. But
Which,
empirically, based upon their filing, I would have to lean toward that they're looking for it under 1281.7.
Bill?
yeah, I'm just reading the M3.
Can I just ask Teresa something
Yes, Shelley.
in response to Teresa's comment? Was your comment leading to, and this is just, me continuing, but was your comment leading to, is the burden on this board to determine what section someone's asking for, that they need to complete an application properly, or where was that going?
I think that's a good question, and I hadn't really gotten to the end of my thought process. It seems like a nit. It seems like a little bit less substantial, or maybe a lot less substantial than the previous one where they were just not even on time. But I feel like it might warrant just going back to them and saying, hey, you missed something here. But I don't, to me, it wouldn't lead to a rejection because and they've been around for a really long time too, right?
Yes.
So I guess I'm wondering if they, and I know you probably don't know this off the top of your head, Joe, but if they have previously indicated what subsection they're going under.
I have a phone conversation with them, but quite frankly, it's been a number of years ago, and it looks like they've been hopping around in West Hartford till they finally landed with the University of St. Joseph's.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any significant property to speak of. And I was just kind of fanning through their bylaws here to see if
William Prince, Teresa, are you perhaps suggesting that we table this and just have them amend and initial that and resubmit it and put it on for next month?
I like that idea unless someone talks me out of it.
Okay, mic off, Shelley.
I don't recall our procedures, but are we ever able to, just for the sake of time, accept it subject to revision, meaning it's effective when they make their revision, but, given that it's probably a nit, again, I wasn't meaning to say, Teresa, oh, well, we should bump everybody if it's incomplete, but I also don't think it's our burden to figure out under what section they're filing.
And Joe.
Yeah, Joseph Dakers. Under Article 3 of their mission and purpose, and this may be a stretch on my part, but it does indicate that the corporation is organized exclusively for charitable purposes as specified in 501(c)(3) of the Internal Revenue Code.
But I think it's incumbent upon the applicant to claim a statute under which they're seeking the exemption. And Jay, did you have any ideas or comments?
This is James Hill. I guess what I'm just wrestling with is if we, as I understand it, we believe they satisfy the statute, but I guess I'm unclear if we were to table it, what we'd be asking them to do. Just claim the statute that we think applies. Is that the idea? And I guess I come down on thinking that may be too much of a nit to go back. That's the concern I would have about either rejecting or what have you for that reason.
Oh, am I on? Sorry, thank you. if we table this till next meeting, what are the implications for them?
There are no adverse implications. They already have a timely filing. Um, The board would like some additional information before the board can arrive at a decision on that. This is a question that you need to respond to. So it would not affect them adversely within this tax cycle.
Yeah, okay, so I guess, based on all of this and, and I think this is sort of following up on one of Shelley's comments too. We can't, even though we have a pretty good idea they'll pick 7. We aren't sure of that, so I feel like tabling it till next meeting, and letting Joe go back and ascertain what subsection they're going under would be the best course of action. Since it doesn't hurt them in any way, and
Would you like to make
rejection,
a correct, Harry?
well, I'm sorry, Bill, what?
You are the motion maker. Would you
I
like-
know, a little bit. Oh, that should have been the title that I gave you at the beginning. Terry, motion maker. Yes, thank you. This is Terry Samansky, and with respect to the Aurora Foundation's request for tax exemption for personal property, I move that we table it till next meeting.
Second?
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay. Let's see. Roll call. James Healy,
James Healy in favor.
Shelley Roseanne,
Shelley Roseanne in favor.
Teresa Samansky,
Teresa Samansky in favor.
William Prensky in favor. The motion is passed. Tabled the next meeting. Okay, moving on to item 3, the Village for Families and Children, Inc., personal property tax exemption application. Joseph Dakers.
Yes, Joseph Baker speaking. Many of you may already be familiar with this organization. According to their documents, they've been around for several hundred years. I provided you a cover letter that they remitted with their material dated October 28, 2020. And so I'm not going to rattle through all of the different things that the organization does. I will say, however, that they have a retail thrift shop here in West Hartford called the Second Chance Shop, I believe. And I'm not sure if it's used clothing, but they're providing services to those in the community that have certain needs. They have an assessment based upon their declaration that they remitted to us of about $1,540. We've received their bylaws, their sales tax exemption certificate, their certificate of incorporation, and audited financial statements. They're a huge organization and they have a very small presence here in West Hartford. They actually, on their line 3, on their M3 application, they did indicate that they're seeking the exemption under 1281.7 charitable.
When I read, I don't know, I guess it's the M3. They're looking for, it's on furniture and fixtures, telecommunications, and then other for a total of, correct me if I'm wrong, some $1,765.
Yes, which was recorded in their declaration submitted to us timely. They have some, maybe the cost on some furniture of about $1,000. And they have the cost on some technological equipment. It may be a point of sale terminal of about $800. And they have, it looks like they've included a telephone as well. That's the scope of it. However, they did get a 25% assessment penalty because the personal property declaration was filed late, but not their application for exemption.
Any comments? Is there a motion to accept the application? Terry?
This is Terry Samansky. I move to approve the application from the Village for Families and Children for a personal property tax exemption.
Thank you. Second?
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay. Roll call. James Healy,
James Healy in favor.
Shelley Roseanne,
Shelley Roseanne in favor.
Teresa Samansky,
Terry Samansky in favor.
William Prensky in favor. The application is approved. And fourth item, the application for Hartford Hospital's personal property.
Yes, Joseph speaking. I would like to, this is actually not an initial application. We acted on their application back in 16-17. So we approved their request after speaking with I think there was some lengthy discourse that went over several meetings. This is actually a renewal, and this is the year that all tax exempt organizations have to renew their exemption requests. It's every 4 years. So I would ask that you remove this from your agenda. There's no action required on your part. If you look at the I'm not sure how it got in my pile, but it on the upper right-hand corner of the M3, it's a renewal. It's not an initial application.
See, mine says 2020 years, the initial application is X'd out. Not.
No, if you look at the top of the M3, it says initial application, quadrennial report renewal. That's where the X is at. This is a renewal application.
For the 2020, Bill Persley.
2020 is the year that all of these tax exempt organizations in West Hartford have to renew their exemption.
Well, mine has the initial application next off, not the quadrennial report.
Does anyone else have that?
I'm looking at the email you sent us on March 2nd, and it was meeting doc 3 of 3. Maybe I'm looking at.
This is James Healy. Bill, I think 3 of 3 may have been the Village's application.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jim.
I think the Hartford Hospital materials
Yes.
were in the 2 and 3. Yeah.
And which one is it in, the 2 of 3 or the first one?
I think Hartford is in, there's the first one and the second one, and the attachments are in those two.
Oh, the M3 is.
So I think it's a cover letter and the 2017 and 18 Form 990s.
I stand corrected. I was reading the wrong. Thank you. Oh, Joe, what is the, would you just want to, how do you suggesting we act on this item?
There's no action. Hi, Joe Dacre speaking. There's no action required by the Board of Assessors on this file. This is a perfunctory filing. We'll take a look at it and make sure that they have dotted all their i's and crossed all their t's relative to information they provided us previously. And if that's the case, we'll just approve the exemption for the additional 4 years. There are 3 locations that they have in town, 445 South Main Street, and they have another location on North Main Street, and they have a surgical center here at 65 Memorial Road.
William Prensky, okay, so we will pass that item number 4 on the agenda. And the next thing I have is staffing review, assessment analyst position. Joe, would you like
Yes.
to talk about?
All right, I'm going to, well, let's see here. So, I don't think I sent this to you until sometime last evening. So what I wanted you to do is I wanted you to see the chronicle of activity from when I made my presentation to the town manager. And then he kicked it to the Human Resources Department to see if he had the authority to do this. And ultimately, he suspected that the request would have to go before the town council, and it does. So what I did in collaboration with the Human Resources Department is we created a job description for someone who has been here 5 years, working part-time in a capacity for us that has been extremely valuable to the town of West Hartford. We essentially do all of our personal property audits in-house. And personal property is an area that really is self-reporting on by the business owners. And so we accept what they give us, but oftentimes, and not by intention, they don't give us everything. For example, you'll have a lot of capital leases in town that the leasing company reports to us that the owner should be reporting to us, and the owner doesn't report that property to us because they say that the leasing company should report it. Or we'll have property that has been leased from a leasing company. The leasing company reports it to us for 3 or 4 years, and then it drops off their file, and the lessee doesn't report it when actually they acquired the property. So just all kinds of things that occur in the process. Over the last 3 years, this particular individual has recovered over $3 million in tax dollars for the town of West Hartford, what we call escaped assessments. So we actually have an ongoing audit process now in this office that we've never had before. I periodically provide the town manager with these reports, along with the actual account names, addresses, the assessments before and after, so that he can see what this performance looks like. And quite frankly, without someone in this position, I think it would be it would not be a positive situation for the town of West Hartford. We have 2 clerks here in our front office. They do a wonderful job for us, but they're not auditors, and they don't really have time to really go through those declarations that are filed with details. And you've seen the declarations in times past through this process here. So we have a job description that has been created. We also have a salary range that has been, I copied you on that for the position. You can see it on the right-hand side there under assessment analyst. And now, based upon information provided by the Assistant Director of Human Resources to the town manager, This has to be, I had it in front of me here. Yes, the job description would need to be developed, brought to the Board of Assessors for their approval and recommendation to the council. So that is something that Matt would be doing. I know oftentimes we deal with a lot of issues related to tax exemptions, but your scope of responsibility is actually larger than that when you look at the charter. To be honest with you, I was surprised this morning when I read it this morning. I didn't want to bring it up now, but they talk about salaries in that thing. So that's a conversation for another day. I did not know that was there, but you're not approving it. You're just being made aware of it. And you have the description, you see what they're doing. You don't have to decide on anything today. You can ask me for additional information. Maybe you want to see some of those performance documents of the personal property audits that we did. I have given that to Matt. You can see through these chains of emails, he is on board with this. Right now, what I'm going through with you is a perfunctory process to bring it to your attention. And then the next step would be for perhaps a document to be drafted by Matt for your approval before it is submitted to the town council at large.
Teresa,
What kind of a document for our approval, Joe?
Well, when we do an audit, we require all their federal tax returns. And this staff person goes through their asset listing schedules and they compare that to information that they declared to us. And oftentimes we'll find stuff that has been misclassified as real property as opposed to personal property. Once that is done, and there's a lot of dialogue that goes back and forth between their in-house bookkeeper or accountants as they forward through the property owner's taxable information or account records. And then we'll end up, and I'm sorry I didn't send this to you. You can't see it here, but this is a document that I've given to Matt. This is one of the most recent ones. It's a small one, and basically it shows the 2015, 16, and 17 grand list. It shows the previous assessment. It shows the amended assessment after the audit, and it shows the increase or decrease. In this particular case, it was $8.2 million was the previous assessment before the audits. After the audits, it's $11.8 million. The net increase is $3.6 million, and the recovered taxes are about $147,000 in property taxes. And if we did not have this, in my previous life in Hartford, we had that here. And this whole thing started in 2015 when Ron Van Winkle was here. And I brought it to his attention, the need for doing audits. Ron gave us a budget of about $50,000 to conduct those audits. We only spent $25,000 of it. But in those audits, we generated $1 million in property taxes, I think, out of 50 businesses that were audited. So there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong in here. And it's not always intentional. It's that sometimes people are uninformed about the overall assessment process.
So I guess so my specific question was, you said something about generating a document for our approval. And I don't know if you're talking about a template sort of thing or a specific, I don't know what document you were talking about.
Well, two things. If you want additional information, just for your own background in terms of what is happening here, as opposed to just hearing me talk about it. I mean, I have a plethora of information on the number of accounts we have in the reports, the same information that I have provided to the town manager. And, I certainly can do that for the follow-up meeting. It's not something that has to be done today.
Okay, one more question, if you don't mind. So thank you for clarifying why that item was on the agenda, because I wondered why the item was on the agenda. But my part two question is, was the charter that you mentioned, which gives us the authority or the obligation to have vision on these staff position things. Is that a charter that we would have received in the initial packet of information that we got when we joined this board? Or if not, where could I find that?
Well, it's under, I can send it to you this morning, pronto, as soon as we get off. I printed it out this morning. It's under, section 8, Roman numeral 8. And it's the, if you,
Excuse me,
if you,
Joe. If she just looks at the letter, this is Bill Prensky speaking, from Matt Hart.
The reference is there?
yes,
Of what
I can find it. I can find it.
Section 2.
Yeah,
Chapter 8.
thank you. Okay, I can find it.
And I think
Thank you.
Terry's initial question was, she wanted to know what the document that the board would be approving for this position. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
that's,
I believe I gave you the job description, yes?
No.
yeah,
But you said later, Joe, that you're going to
Right.
provide the board with a document for us to pass on.
Okay, there has to be a recommendation, and as the administrative arm for the board, I will talk to the town manager about crafting that recommendation for your approval before
okay,
it's kicked upstairs. So I'm not asking you to do that. Well, I'll have the administration do that.
got it.
Is there anything
Thank you.
further on this item from any of the members of the board? Raise your hand. No? Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting? Teresa,
Yes, this is Terry Samansky, and I move to adjourn the meeting.
second?
Shelley Roseanne, second.
Okay. Any objections? Or I don't think I, all right. Jim, yay or nay?
James Healy, yay.
Yay.
Shelley Roseanne, yay.
And Terry?
Terry, this is Terry Samansky, I approve.
Okay, William approved. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Donating your precious time to the town of West Hartford. We will see you at the next meeting.
Great. Joe,
Thank
could
you.
you just give me a call, please?
I've
Take
run-
care all.